It was a calm morning, one of those in which the countryside of Snow Hollow seemed even quieter than usual. The light wind made the curtains dance softly, and the chirping of crickets was the only sound filling the air. Olivia woke up feeling dry in her mouth, unbearably thirsty. Half asleep, she rubbed her eyes and got out of bed, walking barefoot through the dark hallway of the house. The soft light coming from the kitchen was the only thing illuminating her way. As she crossed the hallway, she noticed that the bathroom door was ajar. The sound of the shower water echoed through the silent room. This made her hesitate. Who would be taking a shower so early? Her father, Charles, usually woke up late on the weekends. Curious and still with her mind a little sluggish from sleep, Olivia pushed the door a little further, just enough to peek. The mirror was completely fogged up by the hot steam. She couldn't see clearly, but she noticed a shadow moving inside. Suddenly, a strange feeling took over her, a cold shiver going up her spine. It was then that Charles noticed her presence. Without turning off the shower, he turned his face slightly towards the door and asked in a hoarse, somewhat strange voice, "Olivia." "What's wrong?" She froze. Something in the way he spoke made her heart race. It wasn't just the surprise of having found him there. It was as if something was wrong. The thick steam made everything more unreal. Her father's silhouette seemed blurry, almost different. Olivia felt a knot form in her stomach. Why did she have the feeling that the figure inside the bathroom wasn't really her father? A stronger shiver ran through her body, and suddenly, everything went silent. The sound of the shower stopped. The only noise left was that of her own rapid breathing. Then, without her knowing how to explain it, the bathroom door closed by itself with a bang. Olivia had always had a quiet life in the countryside of Snow Hollow, where she lived in a simple house, surrounded by a large backyard full of fruit trees. At 19, her routine was predictable but safe. She studied in the morning, helped her mother with household chores in the afternoon, and at night, she immersed herself in books or distracted herself by watching her favorite series. Nothing in her life seemed out of place, and she had grown accustomed to that peaceful routine. Her father, Charles, was a reserved man, a man of few words, but always present in his own way. An experienced truck driver, he spent weeks on the road and only came home on the weekends. When he was around, he seemed to carry with him the fatigue of the long trips, preferring the silence on the porch or busying himself with small repairs. Around the house, Olivia always saw him as a distant figure, a good man, but one who never expressed many feelings. However, as time went by, something changed inside her. It wasn't exactly a visible change, but rather a new feeling, a desire to better understand the people around her, especially her family. One evening, as they chatted casually in the kitchen, Charles told her stories of his youth road adventures, past challenges, moments that shaped who he was. For the first time, Olivia saw her father not just as the man of the house, but as someone with dreams, memories, and feelings she'd never known. With him spending more time at home because of a break from work, Olivia began to notice details she'd previously overlooked. The quiet way he'd gaze up at the sky at dusk, the way his smile would flicker when he talked about something he loved, the patience with which he tended the garden. For the first time, she felt genuine curiosity about who her father was beyond the role he'd always played in the family. He was no longer just a tired truck driver coming home on the weekends, but a man with a life full of stories and experiences that, until then, had seemed like a mystery to her. Nothing could have prepared her for what happened that early morning. In the bathroom, what once seemed like just an ordinary night turned into something much bigger, something that made her question the reality around her. Olivia woke up suddenly, feeling a strange shiver run through her body. The silence in the house was almost absolute, except for the sound of water dripping in the distance. The clock next to the bed read 2:47 in the morning. Something was bothering her, but she didn't know exactly what. She got up slowly, rubbing her eyes, and walked barefoot down the dark hallway. A dim light came from the kitchen, but it was the sound of the shower running that made her heart race. her father shouldn't be awake. In fact, he wasn't even home that night. Or was he? Breathing quickly, she approached the bathroom. The door was ajar, and hot steam was escaping into the hallway. She felt a lump in her throat. "Dad," she called hesitantly. No answer. Swallowing hard, she slowly pushed the door open. The mirror was completely fogged up, and water was running down the tiled floor. But something was wrong. The shower was running, but the stall was empty. It was then that she felt a presence. A cold shiver ran down her spine when she saw a shadow in the mirror's reflection. It wasn't clear, but it was there, motionless, behind her. Olivia spun around quickly, but there was no one there. Only thick steam filled the room. Her heart was pounding in her chest. A low whisper echoed around her, almost imperceptible, as if the bathroom itself was trying to speak to her. "Do you want to come in?" The sound came from inside the shower. She stepped back, feeling the cold wall against her back. Her entire body was shaking. Her instincts screamed to run, to get out of there as quickly as possible. But for some inexplicable reason, her feet seemed glued to the floor. The steam formed strange patterns on the mirror, as if something was trying to communicate. Olivia blinked, trying to dispel her fear, but in the next instant, the bathroom light flickered violently. When it returned to normal, the words were written on the fogged glass, "This will change everything." A scream built in her throat, but no sound came out. And then, in the blink of an eye, the bathroom door slammed shut. The sound of the door slamming echoed through the house like thunder. Olivia's heart seemed to hammer against her ribs, her breath short and shaky. She turned the knob in a hurry, but the door wouldn't budge. Trapped out, the shower was still pouring hot water, turning the bathroom into a suffocating fog. The fogged up mirror distorted the dim light, and the words that had appeared on it seemed to be starting to disappear, as if they had never been there. "This is going to change everything." She tried to convince herself that it was her imagination, a trick of exhaustion, of interrupted sleep, but the feeling in the pit of her stomach screamed otherwise. Something was wrong, very wrong. "Is someone here?" Her voice came out lower than she expected, almost a whisper of silence. The only sound was the trickle of water. But then tick dash tick dash tick. Small crackling sounds came from the ceiling. Like something was moving, something invisible, but real. Olivia swallowed hard, fear running down her spine like melting ice. That was when she felt it, a change in the air. A presence. Her hair stood on end. Suddenly, the shower turned off by itself. The silence was so absolute that she could hear her own heart hammering in her chest. Then, without warning, a sharp noise sounded behind her. The mirror, with her breath caught in her throat, she slowly turned around. The moisture from the steam had almost completely disappeared, revealing a distorted reflection. Her own face was there, but something was wrong. The reflection was out of sync. She blinked. The reflection didn't blink. A deep chill spread through her body. Her chest rose and fell rapidly, but the image in the mirror remained still, its eyes fixed on her. Then, as if coming to life, her own image smiled, not an ordinary smile. A wide, wrong smile, stretching a little longer than it should, the teeth showing uncomfortably. "Olivia." The voice came from the mirror, but it wasn't an echo. It was a hoarse whisper, coming from that other version of herself. She felt her legs give out, the light flickered again, and in a second of darkness, something moved behind her. When the light came back on, the reflection was no longer there, but something was right behind her. Olivia's breath caught in her throat, her eyes were wide, and her body was paralyzed with fear. The air around her was cold, heavy, and then a cold touch on her shoulder. Olivia didn't think, didn't reason, just screamed. The door swung open by itself with a bang, and she ran down the hallway, feeling her own scream echo through the house. Her bare feet thudded against the cold floor as she ran, not daring to look back. She reached her room and slammed the door, locking it. Her heart raced, her breathing erratic. The silence returned. Only her own fear filled the space. And then, Just when she thought she was safe, one last thing happened. On the mirror in her room, written in shaky letters as if someone had drawn with wet fingers, a new message appeared. This has already begun.